If you love diving deep into unsolved mysteries and true crime, you're in the right place. Today, we're exploring the haunting case of the Dyatlov Pass Incident. On January 23, 1959, 10 students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute set out on a skiing expedition. Led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, the group aimed to reach Otorten, a mountain some 10 kilometers north of the site where they would meet their end. One member, Yuri, had to turn back due to illness, a decision that would ultimately save his life. On February 1st, the group pitched their tent on the slopes of Kolatsiakl, which in the Mansi language means dead mountain. The decision to camp on the exposed slope rather than in the forested area 1.5 kilometers away remains puzzling. However, Dyatlov likely wanted to practice camping on a mountain slope. The next day, when the group failed to send a radio signal as planned, no immediate alarm was raised. It wasn't until February 20th that search and rescue teams were dispatched. What they found shocked and baffled everyone involved. Their tent was found badly damaged, with cuts made from the inside, indicating a frantic escape. The scene was eerie and unsettling, as if the tent had been attacked by some unseen force. The cuts were jagged and haphazard, suggesting that the hikers had used whatever they could find to tear their way out. The snowstorm had partially buried the tent, adding to the sense of desolation and urgency. The searchers who discovered the tent were baffled by the sight, as it was clear that something had gone terribly wrong. The tent, once a symbol of shelter and safety, now stood as a silent witness to the chaos that had unfolded. Footprints of the hikers, some in socks, others barefoot or in a single shoe, led down the slope towards the forest. The footprints were erratic and uneven, as if the hikers had been running in a state of panic. The snow had preserved the prints, creating a haunting trail that led away from the tent. The searchers followed the footprints with a growing sense of dread, knowing that they were likely to find more evidence of the hikers' desperate flight. The forest loomed ahead, dark and foreboding, as if it were hiding the secrets of what had happened that night. The footprints told a story of fear and confusion, raising more questions than answers. Under a cedar tree at the forest edge, the bodies of Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonishenko were discovered, barefoot and dressed only in their underwear. The sight was both tragic and perplexing, as the two men appeared to have succumbed to the cold while trying to find shelter. Their bodies were positioned as if they had been huddling together for warmth, but the lack of proper clothing suggested that they had left the tent in a hurry. The cedar tree offered little protection from the elements, and the snow around them was undisturbed, indicating that they had not moved from that spot. The discovery of their bodies raised more questions about what had driven them to leave the safety of the tent in such a state of undress. Remnants of a small fire nearby suggested they had tried to keep warm. The fire had burned out long before the searchers arrived, leaving only charred wood and ashes. It was clear that the hikers had made a desperate attempt to survive the freezing temperatures, but the fire had not been enough to save them. The searchers could only imagine the fear and desperation that the hikers must have felt as they huddled around the fire, hoping for a miracle that never came. The abandoned campfire was a poignant reminder of their struggle and the harsh reality of the wilderness. The searchers then found Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova and Rustem Slobodin between the tent and the cedar tree, seemingly trying to return to the tent. Their bodies were scattered along the path, as if they had been overcome by the cold and exhaustion before they could reach safety. Igor Dyatlov, the leader of the group, was found lying face down in the snow, his arms outstretched as if he had been crawling. Zinaida Kolmogorova was found a short distance away, her face turned towards the tent, as if she had been trying to keep it in sight. Rustem Slobodin was found further back, his body showing signs of a struggle, with bruises and abrasions that suggested he had fallen multiple times. The searchers were left with a sense of profound sadness and confusion as they tried to piece together the final moments of the hikers' lives. The discovery of their bodies only deepened the mystery, as there were no clear answers to explain what had driven them to leave the tent and venture into the deadly cold. The searchers could only speculate about the events that had led to such a tragic outcome, and the questions that remained unanswered would haunt them for years to come. 2 months later, the remaining 4 hikers were found buried under snow in a ravine 75 meters further into the woods. The state of their bodies deepened the mystery. Nicholas Thibault Brignol had suffered a fatal skull injury. Lyudmila Dubinina had major chest fractures akin to a car crash impact. Semyon Zolotaryov had major chest fractures akin to a car crash impact. Alexander Kolovatov had severe head injuries. Dubinina was found missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Despite the gruesome nature, forensic experts concluded these injuries occurred post-mortem due to natural decomposition in the harsh environment. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain what happened that night. From avalanches and katabatic winds to infrasound-induced panic and secret military tests, the explanations vary widely. One popular theory suggests the hikers fled in panic from an avalanche, but no evidence of an avalanche was found. Others speculate about military involvement, citing the presence of high levels of radiation on some of the hikers' clothing, and reported sightings of glowing orbs in the sky by other hikers in the region. Despite extensive investigations, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains an enigma. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, concluding that an avalanche was the most likely cause. However, many questions remain unanswered, and the mystery continues to captivate those who seek to uncover the truth. What do you think happened on that fateful night? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most perplexing mysteries. Thank you for watching.